Hi folks, how are you all? Hope you're all okay. So, as you will notice, I'm just trying a different type of setup. Trying to put a sheet behind certain things like on reviews and perhaps final reveals. So, well, we'll see if it shows up a bit better. I mean, it might not, it might do. So, um, Martin Lamont, international British modeller, has released another group build, if you're not aware, and it's the Bomber Command group build. He's running it on Facebook and YouTube and that, I suppose. I'm not sure if there's anywhere else. So my entry was the kit that you can see in front of you, which was this kit. Um, by no means has it been your typical Tamiya shake and bake, fall together, whatever you want to call it, typical Tamiya kit. It's been a nightmare from start to finish. Let me just try and find a pointy thing. Um, it's been a nightmare. I've had fit issues. Things don't want to fit. Things won't go into place. Oh, just anything and anything that you could think would go wrong has gone wrong with this build, which is a shame, really, because it's a Tamiya kit. Um, but several times I was about to chuck it in the bin and give in. I just couldn't, I just, with health issues and that that's going on at the minute and that, I just did not want the stress at all. But I thought, you know what, I've spent a small fortune on aftermarket bits for this kit, which I don't, well, I never used to, but I've decided to start doing a little bit more of because I don't know, it just adds a bit more detail, I suppose, in bits to the kit. So yeah, so I've continued with it and done what I can. So this is the final reveal. It's the Lancaster 1/48th scale Lancaster Mark B, 1/48th scale, like I said. Kit number 61112, so it's 6 treble 1 2. And they've Tamiya did a couple of releases. They did this one and then the Dam Buster version. I have got the Dam Buster version in the stash as well, which is now going to stay in the stash for as long as possible because I just daren't build it, because if it's anything like this one, then I dread it. So I'm not going to bore you with talking about any more about with what and all that type of thing about different stuff. So I should just crack on with the kit. Right, so the first thing that I wanted to change, the first thing you went through started, which is typical aircraft kit, you start with your cockpit. So the first bits I bought for the cockpit were Edwards seat belts, and then the basic Edward interior bits. They were like the seat belts and the sort of the control panel and all that type of thing was in there. There's a few bits that I thought perhaps should have been added, like the radio controls and all that. The panel, of the radio and that should have been added, but it wasn't. But never mind. So that was a decal. There wasn't major issues with that at first. So I did add a bit of scratch building in there, and I mean a little bit. I added a metal sort of rod that goes across the top of one of the control panels just on the inside of this side of the cockpit. Um, on all my research pictures and books I've got, they got all that type of thing on there, so I just added that. It was just a normal piece of fuse wire, I think it was. And apart from that, everything else in the cockpit was sweet as it wasn't an issue. Apart from when I came to fit the canopy glass, it sort of caught a little bit with the photo etch bits, so I had to do a bit of sanding, and there's still a small gap underneath, but you can't really see it all that bad. So then you sort of add your interior, and then you add the sort of the more interior, which is like sort of the radio operator here. That if you can see, if you do look close into the canopy, you can see, but I'm not going to move the camera because you won't see it by camera. And then you've got minimal bomb, the bomb aimer and whatever they're there, and of course the forward gunner. So that was that. So then you close your fuselage parts. That's when I started coming into the main problems. Now, whether it was me or the kit, I think it was the kit because I did take utmost care in doing this part. But I went to attach the two fuselage halves, and there was gaps at the front, there was gaps at the back, in the middle, underneath. It was just awful. And there was quite a bit of flash on the bits, so I cleaned those up, and everything else. I don't worry about flash because we're modelers, we have to adjust. So I did that. So I had to use quite a bit of putty, which I always use the Vallejo putty. Let me just get some out if I can reach it without knocking everything down. Which I had to use the Vallejo. Oh no, that's Tamiya. Yeah, sorry guys. Which I had to use the Vallejo putty. Now, the Vallejo putty comes in that size tube now. So, and it was full, so that is the size I've now got left. So that goes to show you how much putty I had to use for that build. And then after bits of that, I added Mr. Surface Sur 500 to it, just to go over the seam lines and that, to make sure that it was covered and all that. You can still see in the odd bits of places there's a step. Well, there's no step, but you can see a bit of where it was and where the pull fit was. Because seriously guys, if I'd continued sanding anymore, I would have just sanded the whole piece of plastic away, and there would have been holes everywhere. So I had to stop at a certain point. I didn't have much plastic card, so I didn't really want to sort of add to that. So then you put the fuselage together, then of course you start working on the wings and all that type of thing. That's when we came to the next problem. You put the wings together, before you put the wings together, they want you to do the undercarriage part. So let's just take that out. So you add the undercarriage part and these bits here, which are the things, and there's a huge gap down the side of each one there. I weathered it and all that and added them bits in. I've added bits of oil and petrol there because obviously the fuel tanks and everything are underneath the wing, underneath there. So that's that. So there was major fit issues there as well, which was a pain in the backside. But again, filled all that up, which, well, it just goes to show. It was just a nightmare. So there was that. Then I started working on the engines. Now I was going to keep the engines enclosed. It comes with the options of having two engines open, as you can see, but it's on the same wing. The instructions give you. Well, the fit was that bad that, and the gaps with that, it just wouldn't fit properly. So I thought, right, sod it, I'll try and have the engines open. The only issue was it was like that one was okay, that one wasn't, that one was okay, that one wasn't. So I had to sort of adjust and try and do a lot of surgery on the kit and have one engine open on each wing so I could get rid of the fit issues, which eventually worked. I've added bits of piping, bits of sort of plastic piping I've got, and some metal wire, fuse wire and all that type of thing, just to add a little bit more detail into the engines. I don't know if you'll see, but it's worth a try just to try and see if I can show you. There's the odd little bit here and there. I know in the real Merlin engines there's wires all the way across there, but I just added one or two there, and then a fuel pipe and all that type of thing. I've added bits of weathering and all that type of thing onto it. as you usually do with engines, it's my first real, apart from the Bradley that I did, the Meng M3A3 Bradley and 135th, that comes with a full engine, so that was my first sort of taster of an engine, but this is an aircraft engine. So I've added all them bits. I've added a bit of fuel dump. Let me just get the weathering set if I can get it. The weathering set that I always use and go to on engines and stuff is this MIG Ammo one. It's fantastic, it really is. I don't always like the MIG Ammo stuff, but I swear by this set, it is really, really good. I recommend it to anybody. So I've added like bits of, the fuel and oil and engine grime onto bits. I've added a few little chipping bits of engine oil and that around the propellers and that, because a lot of people on my research pictures and that I've looked at, you do see bits of engine oil and that coming from there, and I do see a lot of guys on the aircrafts and that don't tend to add that, and I just thought, well, I'm far from perfect, but let's add it on anyway. I've added a few bits of chipping around from where the crew enter and exit the aircraft. All the turrets move, which all the turret gun barrels, as I've mentioned in previous builds, a pet hate of mine is the barrels not being drilled out. So I've bought myself, I got basically a master's set, which was this one, for the gun barrels, the metal gun barrels. They were lovely. Of course, I had to take a lot of work to cut them out, cut the plastic out and add them on. So there was that. What else we did? They seemed to fit okay, actually. There wasn't a problem. They've got, each one's got the seat belts in. I don't know if you can see that. The harness is in. So that's from the Edwards set, which it comes with, which is nice. So the colours I used for the black was XF85, which is Tamiya black, rubber black. The cockpit colour inside was Cockpit XF71 cockpit green. And then the browns and greens I used, for the brown I used XF72, which is brown Japanese Ground Defence Force. And for the greens I used RAF XF81, which is dark green too, RAF. And then of course I added bits of white to each one for bits of fading I did, and all that. It's been pre-shaded with white and XF1 black, and I did a bit of brown as well on the panel lines, on the pre-shading, which was a tip from Mr. Martin Lamont himself, which it does show up in places, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it to be shown up everywhere because it wouldn't be realistic. And then I came to the decaling stage. So with them being Tamiya decals, I was really worried because they were really thick, and it's an old kit as well. However, they were perfect. I gloss coated with Tamiya's usual, which is X22 clear, which was beautiful. It sealed great, no issues whatsoever, and the decals went on absolutely perfect, including the black lines, which I was shocked at. And then I sealed it with, what did I seal it with? X35 semi-gloss clear, because I wanted it to have a bit of a grip for the weather materials. And then in places, I sealed it with the L-Clad 2 clear coat flat, which is ultra flat clear, because in places on research bits, some bits are shiny, some bits aren't. Anyway, I then came to add some weathering materials, which was like the streaking grimes and all that type of thing, the enamel ones, and I put them in places, and I came back to it, and it had basically eaten through the clear coat, the flat coat. So that was quite a problem. In places there's staining, so I needed to get around that somehow. So I managed to make it look streaking, and got rid of a lot of it, but there was still, it had basically bleached it and eaten the gloss. So I added the wet effects and some clear gloss again and streaked it to make it look as though it had just come back. My story was, the story for the aircraft goes that it had just come back from a sortie or a mission, and it had basically started to lose power, and the aircraft had to ditch in a field, but the pilot managed to safely land it, no problem at all, and hence why I have, if you can see underneath with the mud, and then on the, I don't know if you can see the actual bottom wheel as well. So I've added that there, so it looks like it's being stopped. It had to land in mud. I've also added some fuse wire onto the wheels just for a bit more sort of effect, because there are brake wires and all that type of thing on the actual real aircraft. So yeah, so that was the story. So I've added, I don't know if you'll pick it up on camera, you might do, but a few bits of streaking where with the gloss coat where the streaking grime had eaten through the clear coat. So I've added a few bits of silky clear gloss, so it shows up as though it's like it had rained a bit, and it's there's a bit of water streaks coming down it. So that's the best thing I could sort of do. I did want to weather it quite a bit actually, because I've never weathered properly an aircraft before, overly weathered an aircraft, shall we say. And of course, on each build, I'd like to try, hopefully try and learn something different. Each one of the guns moves and turns, which I've managed to salvage and do. I've chipped the canopy. The kit comes with clear canopies or already pre-painted canopies, which is the ones I've used. I did buy a masking set, which I've used on certain windows that needed to be masked, shall we say. But I've chipped the pre-painted canopy, because a lot of chipping did actually take place on that from flak and bits and bobs that it's hit. And then in the middle of the water squirters for the canopy, there are two sort of metal aerials or bits of wire that I've noticed on a lot of research books and pictures. So I've added those two from just two bits of fuse wire. There was another one that I put here, but I believe that was added sort of recently for more modern communication type things, so I took that off. Funnily enough, on other Lancasters I built when I was a kid, these little aerial dodgy things here at the back, they always used to fall off and get caught. They haven't this time, which I'm well chuffed with. But yeah, that is basically it, really, guys. I'm quietly pleased and with it, especially after the feedback from everybody, and it's also been put as banner of the week on Warts and All Scale Modelling Group, which I'm well chuffed with. Thank you guys to all the admin for that. That was really nice. It's really made me week, that did, and made all the hard work and effort put into it worth it, So yeah, all in all, I'm fairly happy. It's a monster, as you can see. So my idea is to do what I've done with me flanker, Russian flanker. I'm going to attach it to the wall, sort of that way, so you can pick it off and look at it and that type of stuff. And it means there's loads more room for more stuff. The streaking here was done with NATO black. XF69, I think, NATO black, and then I just went in with a grey colour, not white but a grey, to sort of add the bits of streaking in the chalk or that would have stained that. From research pictures you could see that was how they used to be. NATO black I used because it's like a chalky blacky colour, so it's not it looks more like fuel. Tamiya smoke is 2 glossy and shiny. It's more like an oil, so I didn't really want to use that too much. But yeah, guys, so that's it really. So I just want to say to everybody that's supported me in this and encouraged me, thank you ever so much. It really does mean a lot. My next project I have got planned. I'm still going to leave the Bosnia project at the minute because of health issues and that. I'm just not motivated for that at all. I will say that the next project is armour. And it's going to be a buddy build with my good friend Glenn. So I shall do an entry video for that, a project update video for that in the forthcoming days, hopefully, touch wood. Charlie, thank you. Charlie Mack, thank you very much for your shop card. I got it. That's lovely of you, and thank you for the lovely message at the back. It's gone up here in pride of place with a couple of my other ones that I've got. That's above my workbench. I hope the new setup looks okay, guys, and it's a bit better, so you can see the kit a bit better. If not, I should just go back to the other one. Just let us know what you think. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for all your support and your kind comments. Hope you're all well. Hope you all stay safe, and may the force be with you. Cheers. Oh, one more thing, sorry. Thank you very much to Martin Lamont as well for letting me join the build. It's very nice of you, and thanks for all the support and help that you've given me through the build. Same with you, Nige, Wals, and also Alex. Thank you, Mohawk Modeler, for all your advice and help too. Thanks, guys. Hope you're well. Hope you'll stay safe, and may the force be with you. Cheers. Bye.